And a good Friday night, everyone. Of course, we're still tracking potential tropical cyclone number 3 out there, just close now to the Louisiana coastline. And currently, right now, what I've been looking at for the last hour or so are some of these bands you remember me talking about in the last couple of nights. It's hard to know where the worst of the bands might set up. Well, we kind of have the answer now. We've had plenty of rainfall really just streaming in. It really seems like for the last couple of hours at least. And it's really around, you can see this flash flood warning inside of that green polygon there. So from Slidell, Eden Isle, Pearl River, even stretching over toward like Pearlington. These are the areas that have been experiencing some of these, the worst of the, the rainfall. And so that's what we're going to be watching, or what I'm going to be talking about. And I had the Coastcast up there. This is not the Coastcast. This is the Tropics After Dark. All right, there we go. Let me get that back up. Cool. To get the right thing on there. All right. So anyway, so what we're looking at, and if anybody has, okay, yeah, I just saw that here. Shannon from Flooded Slidell. I was just going to ask if anyone has any kind of reports or what you're seeing over there in the Slidell area, because what I've been seeing is just plenty of rainfall just pounding that area, really 1 to 3 inches, anywhere from 1 to 3 inches of rainfall per hour. The last reports I saw, and again, there could be higher amounts, could be, like 6 to 8 inches of rainfall has already fallen in that area, and we could have more coming, as you can see on here. So yeah, anybody from Slidell area, I know Shannon, you said it's flooded Slidell. I mean, let me know, are the streets starting to flood over there? I mean, what's going on in Slidell? Because right now they do have the flash flood warning, not a flash flood emergency, not the bad one yet, but I'm worried that if this doesn't move out, we could be headed in that direction. So hopefully this thing starts to move a little bit, and this band can at least shift a little bit out of this area, because this is what we don't want to see. It looks like it is maybe creeping east a little bit, as some of the heavy stuff now around Slidell is still coming down, but it does look like in the next few minutes or so, maybe Slidell gets a break from the heavier rainfall. So that's some hope there, in that area. So we'll keep an eye on that. How you doing, Sally from New Orleans? Crystal, good to see you on here. Mary as well, good evening. And JJ, yes, you are on the dry side over there in Texas. Nothing happening over there right now. Rainy and windy, Chrissy says, over in Pensacola, not flooded yet. Yeah, we've had a few breaks over there in Pensacola, but there are some storms that are going to be pushing in soon, though. Yes, Blake, a tornado warning currently right now, actually. You can see, let's see where that is. Yeah, in around Pearlington and in Biloxi. It looks like it might have been either canceled or not sure. Nothing really going on there right now in Biloxi as far as a tornado warning, but some lighter, moderate rain over there. As far as the flash flood, they have looks like they extended it a little bit. Let me just read a little bit here. Until 3:15 a.m. This area with the green polygon, that's where the flash flooding warning is currently. Let me see. Weather is crazy. Nothing in Mandeville right now. Emergency notice on phone keeps coming. Margaret, is that for the flash flood warning? Shannon says streets over yard and up the driveway, up past the back tire of car flushed up against the garage door. Okay, so it is coming up a bit. Let me see real quick and read this flash flood warning. That's until 3:15 a.m. Yeah, it's for southeast St. Tammany Parish, southern Hancock, western Harrison County, and southern Mississippi. And between 4 to 6 inches of rain, probably more than that by now. That was written a little while ago, but I'd say about 6 inches probably in some areas there. Expected another 4 to 5 inches possible. So that would put it, if that actually happens, we're talking anywhere from 10 to 12 inches of rain would have fallen in this area. So yeah, I mean that's not good, obviously. And let's see. So that's could experience Slidell, Bay St. Louis, Waveland, Diamond Head, Pearl River, Pearlington, Stennis Space Center, Shoreline Park, Kiln, Lacombe, and Slidell Airport. Those are some areas that might experience flooding. They just kind of named some cities in that area. So yeah, I mean, not too much information there, just to know that it is going to expire at 3:15 unless they expect to extend it. I hope by that point, though, this rainfall would have shifted off to the off to the east a little bit. So that's the hope there with this, that we do start to see this moving. So that's the worst of the rainfall right now. This line that is set up from Slidell, Pearl River, up to Picayune as well, eastward between, say, Slidell and Bay St. Louis. That's where the worst of the weather is happening right now. And yeah, Jamie, yeah, that's kind of the big thing with this system that I was mentioning is the margin for error is very small with this, because 20 miles does make a difference. Because I'm over here in Kenner, obviously New Orleans as well, city. Nothing really right now. We had some rain earlier, but no big deal. And then even over there toward like Biloxi, getting some rain right now, but look at the margin, right? East and west shift of this line westward, 20 miles, big difference for you, big difference for others. So the margin is just so small when it comes to systems, especially like these, where the worst of it is going to be the rainfall threat, and where a band can set up. Can't be predicted prior to it. Got to just watch it live as it's happening, and that's the story with this one. Let's zoom out a little bit here and see what's going on across the other portions of the Gulf Coast here. Mobile had some heavier bands moving through still around Theodore there, Grand Bay, and then that's going to be pushing up toward Mobile a little bit, especially as the storm begins to shift a little bit off to the east. Well, these bands go in that direction too, and I'll show you a model in just a second. And then over toward, let's go to the Pensacola one. Radar's closer over there. And there you go, right? Some heavier showers and storms. Well, some heavy ones really just moved through Pensacola and Navarre area, but probably decreasing in strength right now as far as the rainfall totals. There's still some storms coming in from the Gulf, but looks like right now the main concern along the Gulf Coast is what's happening right now in the fringes of southeast Louisiana, over toward the Mississippi Gulf Coast, Pearl River, Pearlington, Slidell, all these areas in that flash flood warning, and that's going to have to be watched in the next couple of hours. Let me go back here for a minute and switch back over to the to what's happening now, just to let you know. They still have it as potential tropical cyclone number 3. I don't think they're going to name it at this point. What's the point, right? It's almost on shore. And the funny part is you can kind of see what's going on here on the IR loop. Usually you can't see things like lower level features, but there's the spin right there, right? It's pretty obvious now. It's the first time I can actually see it. I didn't see it earlier in the visible, but on this, for some reason, we're able to kind of see it. But there's your center of circulation. Finally making itself known in the last few hours here. That is definitely where the center is located. That's where they've had it plotted, and that kind of matches with where the National Hurricane Center has it right there, right just off the coast of Louisiana. And so that's where the center is. What I've been saying all along, there's no storms around the center circulation. Normally in a tropical system, we'd have bands coming in here, wrapping back around. We'd have bands all in this area. And, southeast Louisiana would be in a lot of trouble if this is a real tropical cyclone or real tropical storm with real bands around the center. That's not the case, though. Center's here, and look at where all the action is, right? Well off to the east of the center of circulation. And something else that's happening here to show you on the Mardi Gras map is, look at this dry air. It's pushing in right behind this system this way, right? So from west to east, we're drying out a bit as this dry air pushes in. So there's a line here of rainfall versus no rainfall. Kind of we've been saying the entire time. There's your moisture, and here comes your dry air coming in from the west. And so as this pushes in, it begins to dry out the western side of the of the radar picture, and that corresponds perfectly with the radar shot. You can see lots of rain there, but look at how dry it is west of that. Anywhere from Kenner westward toward Baton Rouge, Acadiana off to Lake Charles, nothing to worry about. That's that dry air pushing in from the west, and that's what we're looking at tonight. So again, the most concerning right now is what's happening closer to Slidell, Pearlington, Pearl River in these areas. Stretching maybe over toward Bay St. Louis, Diamond Head. Anyone in this green polygon flash flood warning, that's until 3:15 a.m. And that's something to watch as we go through really the next few hours. Just hoping this thing can scoot a little bit out of this area, right, to give these areas just a little bit of a break from the from the rainfall. We need this thing to start moving. It's moving. It's just these things don't zoom out like a car on the interstate. It's going to take a little bit of time, but it is forecast here. You can see the cone. That now, the concerning thing is that it's forecast to, it's not going to start turning quickly this way. So it's going to do a gradual north-northeast turn and then hook. But that's not until tomorrow in the afternoon that hook to the east starts to happen. So that's a little bit concerning to see that. So hopefully we can nudge this away a little bit from these areas, because you start to get to the point where, just like Shannon said, things are starting to build up a little bit. You start to get some of the creeks and those, Louisiana, these areas, they have all those little waterways all over the place, and they start to fill up. And then there's nowhere else for the water to go, and you start having some issues. So that's the concern here, is things are probably starting to fill up a little bit and get up to their maximum level, in some areas. So just like Shannon attested to just a minute ago, we need this to move a little bit so we can get a break, because you can see the radar there. Although it's not the deep red and pink colors, these are still rain rates of 1 to 2 inches an hour on top of the inches that have already fallen. So that's where the concern comes in. And we can look at the let's see, the storm totals. This is just a prediction, or kind of an estimate in here. But if you look at some of the totals here, you see the darker green color there, and you might be able to see some little pink starting to appear on there in some areas, right? Well, that indicates 6 to 8 inches of rainfall have fallen in this area so far. That's the estimate. And again, I'm sure there's some reporting stations that can confirm that, but those are the numbers that are kind of appearing. So we're heading from 6 inches, and now we're going into the 8 to 10 inch range if this continues to fall at 1 to 2 inches per hour, or we're talking another hour or two, we can start getting to that 10-inch range. And that's when it starts to get a little bit dangerous. When you start getting the double-digit numbers in the last 3 or 4 hours, you can have some issues. So certainly we need this line to start moving just a little bit to become a little bit less concerning. But yeah, that is a bit concerning. Hopefully, because we have stages of these flash flood warnings. It starts off as a flash flood warning. Radar indicates there's a lot of rain. And then you go to the flash flood emergency, where flooding is actually occurring. You got so we hope we don't get to that level, but that's the next level if this continues like this. So we got to get this out of here. We need this to start moving a little bit. So hopefully we can nudge that out. Let's see. So, this was what the little image I was talking about earlier. Where was it? This was the, from National Hurricane Center. This is the one that they had. And, they had the highest amounts falling here. But remember what I told you is that any shift east or west, these would have to be nudged. So it's actually more like that, right? Extended those heavier amounts a little bit more to the west on the fringes of southeast Louisiana, but still on the eastern part of Louisiana into the very western part of the Mississippi Gulf Coast. That's where the highest. Whoops, I didn't have that. That's what I was circling right there. The eastern part of the southeast Louisiana to the western part of the Mississippi Gulf Coast. That's where the heaviest rainfall is falling right now on the on the radar, as you can see there. But the models, at least this one here, look, this was the GFS, and we looked at this one earlier, and I'll tell you what, GFS, I have personally been impressed with the GFS this season. I think it was in our in one of the I posted in the supporters group about. It was like on the first, I had said, hey, the GFS is maybe sniffing something out. And we're talking 2 weeks ago, sniffing something out. I think I posted on the page as well. Look at the 14th to 20th range for something the GFS might be sniffing out. It's doing a good job of sniffing things out well in advance. Although it doesn't get them exact that far in advance, it still indicates that there might be something to track. Well, let me tell you something. The GFS, this was the precipitation model that we looked at earlier, and I tell you, from where they had the worst of the rainfall, and look at that, right in this area, and you go back to where the what the radar looks like right now, and it is spot on with what the GFS was saying that line would set up. So props to the GFS. That's the one that impressed me last season, and so far this season, very well. It's doing very well as far as indicating where things might fall, because that's where the heaviest of the rainfall is falling right now. Indeed, exactly that. So we'll see what these numbers look like. Remember, GFS had anywhere from 6 to 8 inches in this area, up to 7 inches up here. So we're already closing in probably on those numbers. So something to keep in mind as we go forward here. Let's see how if they get much higher. Hopefully not, though. This is a look at the NAM, kind of an indication of maybe what we'll see in the next couple of hours or so, to give you all an idea. Now, this might not be exact. Let's see what happens. This is midnight, so pretty good initialization right now as far as what we're looking at currently on the radar. You can see that. But let's push us forward here and see what happens. So we go into 1 a.m. This is 2 a.m. here, and you can see by 3 a.m. maybe we get that nudge a little bit off to the east there, out of southeast Louisiana. But now coastal Mississippi is dealing with some rainfall, and they'll deal with it for 2 or 3 hours or so. And then that line shifts over to the eastern part of Mississippi's coast, over toward Alabama. Now, according to this might not be exact, but according to this model, by 7 a.m. tomorrow, we have Mobile getting, pretty good amounts of rainfall, and that lasts for a couple of hours, and then that stretches over toward the Florida Panhandle into late morning, early afternoon tomorrow, and then things begin to shift off even more to the east, and then things are okay. Not until tomorrow, late afternoon, early evening. So we'll see how that evolves. We'll see if that's accurate going into the overnight, but that kind of gives you an idea of what we're looking at as far as rainfall goes. But the greater concern right now is of course the radar, and I'll continue to watch this as we go through the next couple of hours. Just got to watch this line. I do think it's creeping east a little bit, because before I think the line was kind of right over Slidell, and now it looks like Slidell at least may start to see a little bit of a break. Still some rain, but maybe not as heavy rain rates that are going to be coming down there. But then again, that's going to be shifting east. So keep in mind, if you're in Pearlington, Diamond Head, Bay St. Louis, Gulfport, Biloxi, these areas, this is going to be shifting in that direction overnight. So expect, if you're going to sleep around this time or in the next hour or so, don't be surprised to have some pretty heavy rainfall, probably by the late overnight hours, maybe 4 a.m., 5 a.m. So that'll be shifting over in that direction, over toward Mississippi, Alabama, Florida by tomorrow morning as well. So that's kind of the time frame of what we're looking at here moving forward. So I'll keep looking at this radar and this flash flood warning. Again, I think it might be nudging east a little bit. That's the hope, because a lot of rain has already fallen. Y'all stay safe out there in the Slidell, Pearl River area, Pearlington. Keep an eye on everything over there, and I'll continue to keep y'all updated. Crystal says the wind and rain has picked up in Washington Parish a little bit. Yeah, I can see that. And that'll probably continue for a little while. All right, so stay with the page, and I'll keep up with the radar and post some pictures probably, and post the warnings, flash flood warnings, if there's any updates to that. So thank you all for joining tonight for this Tropics After Dark. Share this video if you'd like to, and stay safe out there. Keep up with the weather. Keep up with the page. I'll